no disrespect to r.o.a.d. because I fuck with them. I watch their podcast. I love that shit. But I feel like they sort of ganged up on you a little bit. And I just want to let you know that here on the Strategy and Dolo show, you got some room to breathe.
We got you on here because we agree with a lot of the things you say.
It was 5-on-1, I think.
It was deep. Yeah. I watched it. They beat you up out there.
Yeah.
But he held his own?
He held his own.
I didn't get a chance to listen to it.
He definitely held his own.
But I've soured on Trump, to be honest with you.
Oh, you're off.
You're off the Trump train. I'm questioning a lot.
Is this breaking news? This could be the clip, actually.
Just in. Ding, ding, ding.
I mean, Biden's a great guy. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck Biden.
He's a great guy. I mean, he's all there. First of all, he's all there. He's sharp. The guy's fucking sharp.
Okay, he got me going.
The guy's fucking sharp.
Good stuff.
Blood pressure's going a little too high. Relax with the jokes.
Have you heard of this, like, 2/22/22 thing? February 22nd.
I saw a lot of Instagram thoughts posting about it because they love that. They love the numbers.
Love anything that's celestial.
Astrology girls.
Yes, there's symbolism is always key.
Well, all right. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin. That's what I love about the human soul. It'll usually show when the truth ain't told. Use a liar, I can smell it on you. Got the voice down packed, but your eyes are telling on you. Shame on you for stretching your mouth around shit that your heart knows.
We're live, episode 44. We're trucking along, baby. Strategy and Dolo show, Party with Strategy podcast. We got a very special guest in the house today. I'm excited. The internet's gonna go crazy, and I mean, he told me in the car. He said, "My goal is to get you guys kicked off of YouTube today."
Well, we've been trying since we started, so
that's what he told me.
Let's turn it up, because shout out to Club Killers for still not canceling us from the Mixcloud, because we definitely pushed the limit a little bit on here, but that's what it's about, having fun. So Joe, for those of you who don't know who Joe Maz is, why don't you go ahead and let them know?
I am a DJ that's been around since probably 2007 on the national stage, and that was because of basically DJ AM putting me on. He had discovered my music through crooklydclan.net. That was where we were selling, mashups and bootlegs and edits and stuff like that. And after a while, I was introduced to Kevin Scott, and he introduced me to DJ AM, and he had me join Deckstar and started touring around the country. And I mean, I could go off on my whole story if you would like me to, but I don't want to ramble.
Special parts you want to hit, anything, whatever. We're just having a conversation. We'll go on. We'll get to everything. And I think that's interesting, honestly, because I didn't know that AM put you on. I know that Fashion has the same sort of story.
A lot of guys did.
I can't imagine. I mean, you've probably known him for a long time, huh?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that Fashion loves you on the internet.
No, he hates
as much as we do.
I'm sure he loves you as a person.
I think he hates me. I don't know. I don't hate you, Fashion, if you're listening.
Yeah, well, I mean, we love Fashion.
We love Fashion. Yeah, for sure. But it's amazing how many people that's their story. Like, if you really think about it, there was like a whole generation of the open format big room DJs that kind of stemmed from AM's personally. Really. Yeah. Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah, I respect the fuck out of that. I mean, that dude is obviously a DJ legend, but then just on top of that, putting his boys on, building the culture, everything he did was incredible.
And we were talking about the other day about AM and how sadly to say, we've come to a point in the world history that some people don't even know who DJ AM is, that are DJs.
I'm realizing that now.
And you
I just put my boys up. I just put my boys up on the documentary because I own it off iTunes. I bought it when it first came out. You can't get it right now because they're re-releasing it. They pulled it off of everything. You can't get it unless you own it.
Oh, no shit.
Because I think they're going to re-release it on Netflix as like a big thing, which is going to be
great.
dope.
That'd be awesome.
But yeah, I showed them that. They had no idea who AM was. And it's crazy.
It's so sad, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, hopefully through this documentary, that'll be a way for him to be reintroduced to a new generation. How does that make you feel, coming from a generation that AM was God,
Yeah.
as far as the open format thing goes? What do you feel about the new generation not really necessarily being familiar with it?
Well, you could be idealistic about it and wish that it was one way, but it's just not. The world takes us different directions, and you have to adapt. And I think it's important to remember AM and tell stories about AM. I tell stories about them all the time. Keep them in the loop. Make people aware of the history of the art of DJing.
We need to get one of those stories for sure, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got a good AM
Well,
story?
just this week I was at my barber, and this guy's always playing mixes and stuff, and I'm like, have you ever heard of the DJ AM Elton John series? You guys got that?
I love those Elton mixes.
It's like I think it's like 5 mixes.
Really like kind of dark, like indie.
Yeah, they even said in the documentary, like, if you listen to those, you could really see what he was going through, because that was at the time right before he relapsed.
Yeah, I mean, he those mixes specifically put me up on a lot of music that I had no idea about. But some of them were like familiar, like the Sneaker Pimp stuff. But like, I wasn't really into that. I was more of a hip hop guy.
Yeah.
But like through listening to those mixes, it really like changed my sound for a while after that, from like 2009 to probably like 2012 or 13. Because that's kind of when that whole like indie electronic dance thing was starting to boom, and I think that for me personally, that kind of tapped me into that sound that he was doing, like the Banana Split stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are
me as well.
Amazing mixes
for sure.
Did you play Banana Split?
I did.
I feel like I saw you
twice.
in a video because we were watching a bunch of videos. The whole AM thing, when I showed these kids AM, started because I was like, yo, we need to throw our own party. We got to make it like Banana Split Sundays. And they're like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, here, you know?
I've never been so nervous to DJ.
Yeah?
Right.
For that and Cinespace.
Because the YouTube videos, that was like, oh my God. Like anytime you would see like the early Steve Aoki stuff, you know what I'm saying, was always like those parties and all the Roxy Cottontails and all those things.
It was always that Glenjamin guy that was uploading it too.
He's like the videographer. I didn't know who they were coming from, but I just would always see him.
Oh yeah, so I would always go on YouTube, like, what was it, Monday morning, because Sunday was the party, and this guy would be like uploading it, and I'd be like, what did AM do last night? You know, who was there last night?
He would drop a cut, like I don't know, like something that comes to mind, like what was that Siren song? I forget.
Disco Sirens?
Yeah. So that song, like, I had no idea what that was, but by hearing him play it, I was like, oh, I got to play this.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, the DIM mixes, or was it DIM or CID? What was like that really hard electro remix producer? 3 letters. I think it was CID or...
Not Mastercraft. Fucking...
It was in that same realm, but yeah. Anyways, but go back to what you were saying. No, it wasn't Soulwax. Oh. It was either CID or DIM. I can't remember.
Okay.
Anyhow.
Anyways, yeah, so I played a few shows. Cinespace, I remember I was with Danny Days at the time. We had a group called Discotech, along with my brother. And it was us and Kid Cudi, and I want to say, like, Mastercraft showed up, or somebody huge. This is back in, like, 2008. And I was literally shaking. I couldn't even DJ. I was like, the people in the room...
Starstruck.
I've been there before, where you're fucking like so nervous to DJ that your hands are not even steady.
Yeah, there was like 50 DJs behind us. And I'm like, oh my
oh yeah, they're
God.
all probably watching you like a hawk, and you're on vinyl turntables. You know,
You're like, is there a bottle? And do we get a bottle? Is there any alcohol around?
Yeah, for sure. Give me a shot. That's what I need.
A little bit of alcohol.
Yeah.
So you were saying about that when we interrupted about the Elton mixes. I think you were
well, yeah. So that it was just. The guy had never heard of DJ AM, so that's
that's
along the lines of what you're saying, and it's just like I always tell people about that mix, and the way I heard about it.
Mic up a little bit. Yeah.
The way I heard about AM the first time was, I think, 2005. What's the station in LA? Power 106.
Yeah.
Okay.
They used to just let their DJs for a week, that Christmas week, just have at it, like program whatever they wanted to, and the Serato chat board at the time uploaded all those mixes, and it was like Vice, AM, Kevin Scott, I think,
I
Stone
those,
Rock,
those mixes,
like Graham, all these guys, and I was like, wow. I'd never heard shit like this in my life, I've been DJing for a few years, but I'd never heard it like that.
Yeah, like, mixing in with Tears for Fears to fucking Michael Jackson, but like, it never felt corny when he would play it, like, at least to me, because I don't come from like a wedding DJ background, so it's not like I would ever think to even tap into that realm. But the fact that he was bringing it to like the hottest clubs in the country, that was really impressive.
His Power 106 mix started off with Sweet Home Alabama, right?
I can't.
Do you remember?
I think it started with,
I thought it was Tears for Fears.
It was Tears for Fears into like Biggie, like Where Brooklyn At, and then he just went on from there.
Yeah,
the classic Where Brooklyn At loop.
Yeah,
the one that starts off with Sweet Home Alabama, I used to bump all the fucking time, bro. Like, just listening to him live That's why I like to do live mixes. Like when someone asks me to do a mix, like for the inner loop shit, you know, like I like to do it live because I used to listen to AM live, and like you get, that's the real shit. You know what I mean? It's not a studio produced. I sat there and did it 7 times, so it sounded right. Yeah. Like you're getting, I enjoy that the same way I enjoy podcasts because you're just seeing a live version of that person. You know what I mean? It's a on the spot. Whatever's coming out of their mouth is just in their head. It's not planned. Like,
couple happy mistakes.
I love that shit.
Yeah, I like hearing the imperfections actually.
For sure, because when he was amazing at scratching, but sometimes if like a chirp or something would be off, it was okay because
he would find it again though. Exactly. You're watching him fix it live. You know what I mean? Like that shit's amazing.
Hell yeah.
And I think going back to even before the story, you were saying like, you know, the younger generation doesn't know about AM, and it's kind of sad. But I feel like with you talking about them, us talking about them, I'm showing these kids, you know what I mean? That's going to re-spark at some point because all those videos are still on the internet, you know, everything's accessible. I think it's going to come back. Like people are going to discover him and then find out that unfortunately he passed away. But I think that it's good. There's going to be like kids being like, you ever heard of DJ AM? Like asking you that. Like you don't know.
I remember when like Big L like had a resurgence with like the younger audience. And this is probably when I was like 24, 26, you know, and then I'm hearing like 16-year-old kids talking about Big L. And I'm like, you know, were you even alive when he was around? You know what I mean? But it kind of like sparked a little bit. And I feel like that transpires into like mainstream eventually. Like then you started hearing more things like who's the kid from Brooklyn? The 1999 mixtape, Joey Badass.
Okay,
and then he kind of brought back that boom bap sound a little bit. Mm-hmm. I would love for the new generation of DJs to kind of get inspired by those old mixes and maybe bring a little bit back of that open format sound because
I think it's going to come around for sure.
It gets a little stale when it's all the same remixes sometimes, you know.
How do you feel about clubs right now? Like where music's at? Like, you know, EDM's over, hip hop was it, I feel like, for a minute, but now we're in a weird space, right? You feel that? Hold that mic up.
Yeah, I feel like through the I'm sorry.
Here we go. I mean, there's, you know, it's almost illegal for 3 white males to be in a room together.
Look at that. YouTube already banned you guys. That sucks.
There we go.
All right. The music I felt changed when I came out of it a few times. We were opening up and closing down and all that stuff. House music seemed to be a little bit more popular to me.
Yeah.
You know, tech house specifically has been really big, I think, the last couple of years. I'm a house head. I lean that way. And hip hop to me is like, it's just stale in my opinion. I think there's some good people out there that I like, but hip hop has just kind of been in this realm. It's like 70 BPM stuff that doesn't have a lot of energy, in my opinion. So it's hard for me to like bring the room up, bring them down, bring them up, bring them down, and do you know, energy changes when it's just like kind of stale.
I find it's easy to get locked into that 77 BPM, and then you're like, all right, how the fuck do I get out of this? Well, I just slam a track, or like use a transition tool that everyone's heard, or like you know what I'm saying? Because even if you were to pitch shift it down to match it, or over pitch it, and the house hats and drums just don't match. It just sonically doesn't make sense together.
Yeah.
So
I do like that house is kind of hot right now.
Yeah.
I feel like every weekend the house shit I'm playing is getting more and more people are fucking with it.
Exactly.
Because here is definitely more of a hip hop base.
Yeah.
Like
definitely.
people are hip hop here, but they're accepting the dope like remixes now. Those 120 to like 125. Yeah. There's some really good remixes out right now that I feel like are in that range, and they got a good bounce to them, and they're fucking with it.
Yeah, they got a lot. The house that is popular right now, I feel like has a little bit more soul to it.
Yeah.
You know, back like 2012, it was just like make the noisiest track you could possibly make,
dirty,
and people ate it up for whatever reason. So now it's got a little bit more soul to it. I think that the tracks are going to have a little bit more life to them, the deep house, tech house stuff. So I like it. I'm excited about it.
Are there any producers right now that stand out in your mind that you really like playing?
I love Chris Lake stuff, Fisher stuff.
This guy's big
Chris Lake.
That whole vibe is just amazing to me. I absolutely love it.
Have you heard the rumors that Fisher is ghost produced by Chris Lake?
I've heard.
Yes, I've heard of these rumors.
Can you get some? Do we have any insight?
Do I have any direct knowledge? No, but I've just heard that from so many different people.
I would love to just to ask him. Just be like, listen, people are still going to listen to your music.
Yeah.
Like we still listen to Drake, even though we know Drake doesn't write his stuff. Just let us know. Is it Chris Lake?
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, the music's dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
And you're still going to get the same amount of pussy whether you actually produced it or not.
That's true. YouTube strike.
We've said much worse.
Yeah. Well, all right. Speaking of YouTube strikes, let's get into it. I mean,
Did you see that transition?
Yeah.
That's like a dope DJ transition.
Yeah. Thank you. We're.
Have you personally had any issues with YouTube?
No, I mean I don't really.
You just have music on there, right?
Yeah, I just have music on there.
Yeah.
I haven't uploaded any podcasts or anything.
He keeps his flagrancy for other people's podcasts, which I respect.
For sure, and that's smart. That's smart.
Let it build up. This is your release. Because listen,
really.
I watched the r.o.a.d. podcast when it came out.
That's
with
a doozy.
Shecky Green, and no disrespect to r.o.a.d. because I fuck with them. I watch their podcast.
Yeah.
I love that shit. But I feel like they sort of ganged up on you a little bit. And I just want to let you know that here on the Strategy and Dolo show, you got some room to breathe.
We got you on here because we agree with a lot of the things you say.
It was 5-on-1, I think.
It was deep.
Yeah.
I watched it. They beat you up out there.
Yeah.
But he held his own?
He held his own.
I didn't get a chance to listen
he
to it. He
definitely held his own, for sure.
So for those that are watching that don't know exactly what we're talking about, Joe Maz,
This is the DJ Alex Jones.
I
think you need to change the name to DJ Alex
pretty
Jones.
much at this point.
I mean, but a lot of the things that you were talking about early in the pandemic, as you would call it, people looked at it like it was treason, like it was the craziest thing that anyone could ever say. And a lot of them, I love when you repost stuff that you posted or that someone else posted from like a year previous.
This aged
and
well.
Like, this aged well,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you're pretty much like a psychic of sorts.
Not really. I just study what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I'm not really a psychic. I'm reading their books. I'm consuming their stuff that they say, and I'm like, guys, they tell us what they're doing.
So what was the first thing that like triggered you? I mean, like, okay, so I think we could pretty much date it to March 15th as far as that's when we were out of work, March 15th. That's when a lot of the clubs kind of shut down. Were you already hip to it before things were shutting down, or was it kind of like when everything shut down, you're like, all right, I need to know more about why I'm not able to work?
There was about a week or two where I was like, oh, wow, this is like a legit pandemic. I was like kind of getting scared. I was like, wow.
I remember that. I was scared too.
The first couple weeks there, I'm like, really? Because my brother hit me up and he's like, check this out, like in February. It was like some long Twitter thread from a doctor, and they're like, oh, the end of the world's coming and like all this stuff. And I'm like, this is total bullshit, dude. Like they're just trying to fearmonger. And then when they shut everything down, it was like that day that freaking Tom Hanks like said he had it.
Oh, yeah.
The NBA closed down. Like everything happened like on a Wednesday or something like that. Like, and then everybody started canceling.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the clubs started closing down, like everything in one day.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably way more scary for you than it was for us because you're mostly traveling and you have dates booked out for how long? Maybe a year, probably?
Up to a year.
Yeah.
Mostly like 3 months, 4 months in advance.
Yeah.
My whole schedule just done.
That's got to be crazy.
In one day, basically.
Yeah. That was a scary feeling because I remember we were residents at Bottle Blonde in Chicago at the time, and I remember us walking out the back door and talking to the GM, and we're like, so you think the thing's going to be done in a couple weeks? They're like, I wouldn't hold my breath on it. And we're just like, tight.
Nice.
We're out of work.
And
everything was closed. But, like, at that point, everyone was kind of going through the same thing. So it was like, all right, trust the government. It's going to work out. Like, fucking flatten the curve. Okay, we're down with this.
Yeah. You're a little, like, actually scared, too.
Yeah.
You're like, this could be real. This could be some crazy shit that's going to kill everybody. I don't want to die.
Yeah.
You're at Target with the fucking gloves on like a fucking asshole.
Yeah. Wiping down those Amazon packages.
Oh, yeah. When we would do our podcast and people would bring us stuff, we'd, like, spray it down and leave it outside, incubate it for, like, an hour.
Yeah.
I feel like such a fucking idiot now, but like at the time, you only know what you know. So what stood out in your mind first as far as like, was there a specific moment that you were like, all right, this ain't right?
The messaging was, millions of deaths. I think they said 2% death rate initially, which is very high. And then I just started to realize like it just didn't make any sense to me. Like the messaging was, if you remember this, like masks don't work, don't wear masks. You know, the Surgeon General was tweeting it.
Stop wasting.
Fauci was on 60 Minutes, like, don't wear masks. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
it might block a few droplets, but you're going to touch it, like all that. And I'm like, okay. See, I was out getting masks at that time because I thought the pandemic was like legit, like real. We're all going to die. And then I actually studied masks. Like you just kind of like from a general standpoint, you look at a mask, you're like, okay, that must do something, right? Then you go and actually look deep into the science. You can go on the CDC website, the NIH website, like all these clips of Fauci from all these other pandemics and stuff, talking about how it doesn't work. The mask is like, basically, if you look at a fence, like a metal fence, you ever heard this chain link fence? Okay. Try to block a mosquito from going through that. That's what a mask does to a virus.
Yeah, I've seen the video. I've seen the dude. He pulls on the vape, that thick vape, that grenade vape. You know, that one you got to really hold with your hand, not those little fucking pussy jewels that everyone's smoking in the club. And he puts the mask on and he blows it through, and it's just that all the vape is coming right through, out the sides, through the mask, everything. And they say that the COVID particles are a million times smaller than that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, anybody looks at it like it's not flush to your face. Like there's pockets all around it. I think if anything, the only thing that really made sense to me was, okay, maybe it'll block some water droplets from like spraying on someone's face.
I'm sure it does something.
Sure.
Like
but they told us it was aerosolized, right?
Yeah.
So then, there goes that.
Yeah.
So for me, like the biggest thing I saw initially was like all of a sudden Bill Gates was just elevated to like, health lord of the world. And I'm like, why is this dude on every channel?
The mark of the beast.
The guy that we already know is a piece of shit and stole his, if you've seen the movie, he stole all his ideas from other people. So now all of a sudden he's a fucking philanthropist.
Yes, it makes no sense to me.
Wait, are you thinking Mark Zuckerberg?
No.
Did Bill Gates do that too?
Bill Gates did that. He stole his ideas from Macintosh. They tried to sue him.
Yeah, I think he bought the ideas to Windows. He bought like the code or whatever.
Like some shady shit.
But I mean, look at the guy. Who is this guy? I mean, you reposted that Rogan clip of him, had a picture of Bill Gates up, and he's like, this is the guy who you're taking health advice from?
Yeah.
This is the man who's telling you what you need to be doing about your health? He's got tits.
Right.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the realest shit. That's the craziest thing, is that all of this is just right in front of our faces, laid out. We all know, even the people that wear their masks still, this and that, blah, blah, they fucking know that
something
there's
right.
something wrong here. You're walking into the restaurant with the mask on, but then you could take it off. You're on the airplane with the mask on, but you could take it off to eat and drink and fucking perform fellatio in the bathroom. Right. I mean, what are we doing here? We all see what's going on here. It doesn't make sense.
And now I'm curious, because now that everything's just been cut off, because it's like magically it disappeared, right? Because everyone got vaccinated. Yeah. But now it's like, are they ever gonna like admit that like they were full of shit, or do you think it's just gonna be
that's
like
the whole problem? Because if they when they in the beginning when he said masks don't work, and then he came and he was like, oh, I lied about that because we needed to save them for the things, for the we didn't want to run out of PPE for the hospitals.
Total lie.
Like, I respect that, because he said that he lied, or you know what I mean? But they won't ever admit when something was wrong.
How let me ask you this, Joe. How deep do you think the rabbit hole goes, as far as like, do you believe that like it was an attempt at population control? Do you believe it was more of an attempt at
the Great
a social experiment to see if people are going to listen to what the government says through fear? What do you think the motive was behind the whole thing?
I think this is a long, drawn-out plan that was basically devised decades ago. Okay. And that's according to the books that I read by these people that are in control, like guys like Klaus Schwab, who's the head of the World Economic Forum.
Reset? Who wrote the Great Reset? Is that him?
Yes.
That's the guy?
He's like, he was the former head of the Bilderberg Group. Then he created the World Economic Forum in, I think, like 1973. And the World Economic Forum is a non-governmental organization made up of some of the most powerful business people in the planet, some powerful politicians, celebrities, media types.
Sounds kind of like
and they all meet in Switzerland in a ski resort every year and basically just lay out their plans. You can go right to their website. They uploaded this thing on their website it's like a database, like a model. It says COVID-19 right in the middle of it, okay? And there's like all these tentacles that go out from it. It's like digital ID, vaccination, like all this stuff. It all is centered on COVID-19. You can go right to the website right now and look at it.
They don't hide it.
They don't hide it. And they uploaded it like March 15th of 2020. You're like,
I feel like
who the fuck made this?
Maybe the reason they don't hide it is so if shit ever hits the fan and people accuse them, they'll be like, well, we weren't hiding anything.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely part of their technique.
But then at the same time, they don't let media outlets put a light on it.
Right.
But it's been there.
Right. You nailed it right there on the head.
Maybe it's two different entities, because Pfizer controls the media, really. You know what I mean? Their sponsorship over the media is what controls that. So
all these guys control everything because they're lobbyists, right?
Right. So if these guys over here, the World Economic Forum or whatever they are talking this and doing this, it's not really going to maybe coincide with the media, because the media is being controlled by Pfizer. It's like two different things happening at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the same goal.
With the same goal in mind.
So maybe there's someone even puppeteering above that.
I think there is people puppeteering above the World Economic Forum. You're talking about the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. They're part of that.
Soros? Are we talking Soros?
Soros is up there. Bill Gates is up there.
Let me ask you this. And I always thought about this because I found it very coincidental that these kind of things, all these major world events kind of happened around the same time. Do you think that there is any correlation between all the madness that was happening with the COVID and pandemic and everything, and the uprising from BLM and things like, all the madness that was happening, just cities being destroyed? Do you think that was part was that unplanned? What am I saying? Unplanned.
Like a side effect of what happened.
What was happening, or do you think that was
part of the plan?
I don't know. I don't want to say that. That was like all coordinated with George Floyd or anything like that, because
no. Obviously, I'm not saying that.
No,
that was definitely reason, but I'm just saying the pent up aggression that everyone had to finally crack and
I feel what you're saying, because I feel like that's true in a sense, because they have all this information about us as humans, right? Through Facebook and everything we like, and how when we like that, then we're bound to like that, and we go. They could paint the fucking picture of our path through everything that they know, through the data that they've collected through our cell phones. So I feel they probably knew, if they are pushing this certain agenda of race, make sure they're concerned with the race, this happened. Mm-hmm. I feel like they knew it was going to get to that point, Exactly.
And my thing also was this a plan to prevent what the inevitable was, which was, these riots and things like that? They saw based on our statistics, there's going to be mad rioting in 2020, right? Yeah. And so what if they were well, let's come up with an idea to keep people separated and keep them in the house to prevent this, or
Oh, you're saying opposite. They planned the pandemic because they saw the race riots probably going to happen at some point.
Right, and they're well, maybe we could prevent it if we could separate everyone.
I never thought about it like that.
I don't know.
How do you feel about it, Joe?
I don't. I think that the George Floyd thing happened, and it was a tragedy, and then they use that tragedy like they use all kinds of tragedies. They always use a crisis, and they amplify it. And you do have George Soros funding a lot of the organizations that were responsible and kind of leading the charge for some of the stuff. And you even had Kamala Harris tweeting out, bail out the rioters, the people that were being arrested, destroying buildings. And it was
it's crazy.
If I tweeted out a bail link to the guys that did January 6th, they would arrest me. I would be a domestic terrorist, right?
Yes, that's true. That's a good way to look at it.
I mean, that's just insane.
It is, yeah.
But also,
nothing makes sense. That's. Are we supposed to be confused? Do you think?
Yeah, because there's so much happening at one time. You want to think of this all as one thing, and Kamala Harris has something to do with it because she tweeted out bail, them out. She knows what's going on. But also, I feel like there's a lot of just coattail riding in the political world where if something's hot, there's a subject that's hot, oh, the BLM riots are acceptable. Like, then everyone hops on that.
Right.
Yeah.
And they propel it. They're like, oh, yeah, you like this? I like that shit too. Let's
Kinda
get
like
them
the
out. Let's
Ukraine
fucking bail
thing?
them out. Yeah. It's all.
Well, the media can just make everything happen or go away. You know, just like COVID in the last week. Like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were talking about everybody's got to get vaccinated, or you can't get on a plane, or you can't have a job, or you're going to get fired, like you're a terrible person and all this stuff. And then it was like drop of a hat. All of a sudden, it just goes away. All the mask mandates drop. All these cities are dropping the vaccine proof. You're like, the fuck's
which is
going
a good
on
thing.
here?
Right. Which is a
Which
good
is
thing.
great.
I like
That's
it.
good, but
it's
like,
a little fishy.
Yeah,
it's
like
very
everything
fishy.
else.
It's
and it's like
extremely.
on a certain date, like on February 28th.
It was like 1 week.
Yeah,
They all just like said, "Oh, that never happened. Forget about that."
Exactly.
And there's not a lot of coverage about it.
For
You know,
sure.
when they
Well,
would
they're good
imply the mandates, they'd cover it. Oh, Chicago's enforcing the mandate, the vax mandate. You know what I mean? Now they lift it, and it's just like, oh yeah.
politicians. That's
Now we're
since
talking
the-
about Ukraine.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of time, they know how to sweep things under the rug and move along.
That is the game. Everything is just being propelled faster. And I talked about this last night actually with you. You know, like I feel like everything's just moving faster. Technology's going faster. The political scandals that we all knew existed but never really mattered because like it wasn't a thing. Like it's all being fucking inflated. It's all on steroids. It's all happening at a crazier level, and it's really fucking affecting us now.
Well, they talk about how like technology is exponential, right? So it just like it builds off itself. Like the growth we've had in the last 5 years is like the last 30. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Our brains are not really evolving at the same speed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering, maybe is that like where all the confusion comes from, or is it just like, because I swear to God, I the more I like watch the news and stuff, the more I'm like, my head's gonna explode and none of this makes sense because everything's a contradiction and everything is just ass backwards to what.
That's part of the psyop, psychological operation.
Let's hear about
Are
it.
they
Create
performing
confusion. Yeah, absolutely. The mask is key to the psychological manipulation too.
Okay.
So it hits you, your subliminal, your subconscious. You see a mask and you immediately think something's wrong. I need to be scared of something. And it motivates you in ways that you don't even think about. Even if you're like conscious of the bullshit, it's constantly there. You go to a store, there's the sign, wash your hands, do this, do that. Go to the airport, it's like an announcement. Every 5 minutes, it's like on repeat.
Those announcements are terrifying.
And then you got the gate agent. There it is again. Then you got the flight attendant. There it is again. It's like hitting you constantly with psychological manipulation. Now, these people aren't aware of what they're doing. They're just doing what they're told.
Yeah.
Right.
The people
Just
at
like
the top
us
that are
wearing
sending
a
out the
mask.
orders know what they're doing.
So at what point do they know? Like, is it the manager at the store? Is it the owner of the branch of stores? Is it CDC? Is that where it starts?
You got to bring up Jeffrey Epstein really when you start talking about this,
Let's hear about it.
because
I
I think
I don't like Jeffrey Epstein, but I like that we're digging down the rabbit hole a little bit.
we're looking for the why. Everybody's looking for the why. Why is this happening? How is this happening? Where is this all going?
Yeah,
And
like,
I think
what's the motive?
the motive, well, it's in my estimation pretty dark. It sucks, but I think the motive is first and foremost to set up a completely new system of control. And doing that through the vaccine app, which is going to be your digital ID app. That's
Which they're already using in Israel, right?
Yeah.
In other places.
Yeah. The vaccine app and that whole thing was basically just a gateway to the digital ID. So what they want to do is create a completely new system based off of like cryptocurrency, but it's like the Fed, which is not the Fed, by the way.
I
It's
heard
not
about
federal.
this.
So
It's private banks.
Right. So that you the belief is that they're going to introduce a one world cryptocurrency, or
That's the idea. That's like
But
the
not
holy grail.
But not crypto, because it's not going to be blockchain. That's why. That's like crypto is the enemy of what they're trying to do. Crypto is blockchain. It's
Regulated?
decentralized. They're trying to make
A centralized.
the same exact thing, but it's centralized.
Yes.
So in people's eyes, you feel like it's the same thing. Oh, it's a digital currency. I've seen people buying and selling Bitcoin. It's a digital currency, but they don't understand that Bitcoin is what it is because it's decentralized.
Right.
This currency that they're talking about is centralized to them, so they control it.
a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then on top of that, they want to get rid of cash Okay, so now you have a system by which...
We've seen them do that by trying to get rid of the change. Remember when we were talking about that, when they first started saying, money's dirty, don't use money.
Don't touch it.
That's part of the PSYOP as well. You would go out to eat or at some place, and they would say, we don't accept cash because COVID, like, oh, you're going to get the virus.
Yeah.
And then, you go to like a football game, they're like, we don't take cash no more. Again, part of the psychological manipulation,
you know what?
Mental conditioning.
I always fuck with the places that only took cash because I'm like, you're a real one. You're hiding half of this money.
And you don't like taxes. So
I really fuck with them. Right. Like El Patron back home, they still only cash. I'm like, I fuck with you guys.
For sure.
Well, yeah, so that system will allow them complete control over everything. They're going to tie it to a social credit score. So, if I don't have cash and the only thing that anybody accepts is digital coin, I have no way of going about my life anonymously, right? And should I do something that upsets the people that control the system, the Fed coin, they go, hold on a second, we're going to have to turn you off for a week because you tweeted out something about Klaus Schwab and he's upset about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
And
well, the IRS
like in China, they're already doing that.
Yeah, the other part about this currency that you're talking about is it's programmable, is what I heard. So
what does that mean?
They're going to be able to tell you what you can spend it on. It's programmable in the sense of like, if you get this money because you worked, you did a DJ shift, you get paid, but then you do something like you tweet something that they don't like, they could be like, hey, you can't spend this money on anything other than food. Like, we're not going to deny you from getting food, and water, because that's your basic needs.
But you
fucked up and you can't really do anything else with it.
You haven't earned Jordans, even though you can afford them. The right to own them. That's
they also have it where they want to set it up and send it to is basically businesses have to agree to a new system of control as well, like the equitable thing. And the race thing, they're going to come at all these businesses with like certain like rules like that. And if you don't abide by the rules, then your money will not be accepted. You see what I'm saying? Because it's all digital.
Yeah.
I mean, there are all the precursors are there. Because if you look at anything, like look at the Joe Rogan situation, where it was like he was going against what they wanted to be on there, so they tried to cancel him with fucking Neil Young, which was a fucking dud. No one gives a fuck about Neil Young, right?
Well, Joni Mitchell hopped on.
Joni Mitchell, another one. And it's funny, these people are both like the hippies that were like, we're going to stop the man, keep rocking in the free world. And then they're like, nah, not that free. But anyway, so they tried that, right? And then they couldn't, so then they pulled out the fucking... Their big guns. Their big guns. The race car.
He's racist. Which, we have 4 minutes of proof of how racist he is.
Yeah.
Which, and to some degree, Joe should have, watched himself on that. But
because at the time, it was normal.
Out of context, right. And out of context.
Time, in whatever year it was, 2002 or whenever those fucking videos are from, you could say that word. You could say it. It could be said. You couldn't direct it at somebody.
Yeah.
If you called that to somebody,
well, you could be talking about something that happened in history.
But if you said the word, if you quoted a rap lyric, if you said the word, if you were talking about the word and used it as a word, it's just sound waves coming out of my mouth like any other fucking word that exists. But they manipulate it
to make you...
there's videos of Biden literally saying it like to Congress.
I remember that video.
I remember when he was like, "I don't want my kids going to racial jungle." School.
Oh God, don't get me started, man. Like
the receipts are there.
It just shows.
He did the eulogy for like a KKK member, Robert Byrd, I think his name was, in 2010.
Amazing. I never heard that. Good for him. I mean, Biden's a great guy. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck Biden.
He's a great guy. I mean, he's all there. First of all, he's all there. He's sharp. The guy's fucking sharp.
Okay, he got me going.
The guy's fucking
good
sharp.
stuff.
Blood pressure's going a little too high. Relax with the jokes, okay? No, but seriously though, I mean, okay, so the one world currency comes out. Now, let me ask you this, and because this might throw a wrench in their plan, right? By doing these sanctions, right? They're kind of cutting Russia, like they're showing that they have a financial power in a way. But also, think about this. If we all had a one world currency, then in the future, if another country was acting up, would that make it just as easy for them to collapse their economy? Or would this just be a way of doing it?
I think if there's a one world currency, they don't need really to do wars anymore or anything like that, because they can just dictate whatever's going on in that country via the currency.
I guess that's why crime is kind of low in communist
I mean, I don't know if you just saw, but like today, MasterCard and Visa announced that Russians' cards are now off.
Anybody that's Russian?
Yeah, and it's like,
No way.
are we not paying attention, folks?
No way.
Are we not seeing
in Russia?
Yeah, it like just happened.
In
like their
Russia,
Facebook doesn't work, the Twitter doesn't work.
They're just shutting them down.
They're like totally just ostracized from society.
Hot take.
Like the Canadian truckers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Hot
like
take,
you want to say that that's good. That's the whole fucked up part.
But that's how
about
they
this,
flipped it.
Is
Now,
you want to say that that's good. Russia's doing something bad. Let's help
They need
the
to be
Ukraine
stopped,
by
right.
stopping them. We need to stop them. And I get that. It's true. But if that's how you do it, that's dangerous. That's
There's
fucking
millions of
scary.
Russians that you're using to get to where you want to go.
pigs.
Right.
Well-
and you're hurting the people just as much as they're hurting the people. You want to stop this because, they're hurting all the innocent people in Russia that don't want this war. It's not Russia that wants the war. It's the government that wants the war. So
Right.
let's stop it by doing this. And we're hurting those innocent people the same.
Yep.
Is it crazy to think that possibly a vicious dictator like Putin is in on this whole shit and was like, listen, we're going to start this war. You guys shut me down. It'll shut down all the people, and then you can basically use me as a guinea pig.
to
push
I've
this
heard this
agenda?
theory, and I can see it both ways. There's two things where I'm like, okay, maybe Putin's fighting back against the New World Order and all this stuff, okay? But then I'm like, the timing of this is just so insane.
Right, it's almost to the date as soon as the pandemic's over.
Yeah, the same week the whole thing just goes away. All of a sudden they're announcing a war, and Putin's like announcing the invasion like that week. Like it would seem that he's in on it, right?
Yeah.
Now here's something really weird in my view. Have you heard of this like 2/22/22 thing? February 22nd.
I saw a lot of Instagram thoughts
remember it,
posting
yeah.
about it because they love that. They love the
They
numbers.
love anything that's
Big
celestial.
astrology girls.
Yes, there's symbolism is always key. You gotta look for the symbolism. So the thing is, the astrology, right? Pluto has never been in the same place as it was that day since July 4th, 1776.
Okay. Which was
So it
the
returned to the
that
same-
sounds like a very.
It sounds like an important day, doesn't
4th
it?
of July?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the birth
The
of
birth
America.
of America.
Yeah, I think
the
it's
4th
Wait,
of
is
July?
that-
That was the one?
Yeah.
That's a fact, huh?
that's a fact. So
Wow.
now, if you go to Biden's press conference,
I
the
might
big
have
one
to
that he
smoke
had
a
last
joint.
week, yeah, you're gonna have to smoke after this.
Smoke a joint.
He had a press conference last week announcing the start of the sanctions, right? So it's like 1 o'clock. He's supposed to come out. The dude waits. The media's just sitting there for like an hour and a half.
I do.
Well, I believe, if I can guess correctly, they're waiting
know where
for
I'm
1
going with
hour
this?
and 22 minutes.
He walked out, and you can find this clip. He walked out at exactly 2:22 Eastern Time.
I do remember them
on
saying
2:22:22.
Here's the thing, though. Do we not know that the guy needed a nap? He was about to speak. He was about to speak.
Of course somebody's
and we
pushing him.
know
Like, it's
that-
not like he knew
we
that.
know
A
that
diaper
he needed
change.
a nap.
A diaper change.
Maybe he
100%
needed a nap.
he
That's-
needed a
that's-
nap, or
that's
he was
true.
back there getting an IV, maybe, because we know that if he was about to speak, he can't even do it. He
Right.
can't even do that.
The brave
With the
Iranian
IV
people.
and the nap and whatever he needed before. He can't even do it. Like,
That's got to
what
be
do you
part
really
of the
think he
confusion
was
factor,
doing
right?
for an hour
There's
and
no
22
fucking
minutes?
possible way you could convince me that that's the best that Democratic or Republican.
I don't care
anybody
who you are. That's not the guy,
Bro.
We are the superpower of
Well,
the world.
Yeah.
We were at one point. I mean, that's what I grew up believing and understanding. And this is the guy that
You could
we
even
got?
be Venezuela or some fucking country that's really down on your luck. You're not going to have this vegetable walking out speaking.
I think it's part of the demoralization.
Okay.
That's kind of
That I could
part
see.
of the
That
psychological
I can see.
thing. Yeah.
Because Kamala, same thing. Did you like seeing her speak? Like all of them, they're just like fucking zombies. And
Well,
I'm like,
isn't it weird that they picked Kamala because she was like the least popular of all the candidates?
But she was a black female, so that's
Well,
a
I
good
guess
sell for that.
I don't know, but
I mean,
crazy. Dude.
I look. I'm just gonna call it how I see it. I mean, they. See, I got to stop myself.
Get
but,
in there.
But
Get in
let's
there.
just be
Get
real
in
here.
there. Just fucking dive
They're
in.
selling on the points that they can sell, and that was a selling point, obviously. And I'm not saying that there's not a qualified black woman out there, because there is.
Well,
Well-
I think the same thing happened in Chicago, right?
Yeah. And
What's up with Lori Lightfoot?
She's got a big
She
dick.
got a
apparently.
huge cock. That was the first thing
that's
she
the
ever
new
said
thing.
that I really fucking enjoyed. Actually.
Apparently, but Candace Owens, I fuck with her.
yeah.
Yeah,
tough.
I mean, no, it's
I would
not
love to
about,
see like it's not about. When I said a black woman,
race.
it wasn't.
When you make it about race is when you fuck the shit up, just
Right.
like they're doing. You know what I'm saying? They're making it about race. They're like, race is so important that this woman right here has to be elected because she's black. And this and that, she's a lesbian.
If you say otherwise, you're a sexist, racist piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, who's racist?
Yeah.
Racist.
I mean, there's probably some backwards guys out there.
Who's racist? There are a ton of racists.
Right.
And a racist person doesn't hide it.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not like trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
They're fucking racist.
Yeah.
Those people exist. That's the most dangerous part about the whole shit is that like you're fucking everything up. Those people really exist. There are people in the world that hate anyone that's not white or whatever they are, and they want them to fucking die.
Yeah.
That's real.
For sure.
Us saying
Voicing an opinion about something
funny or stupid is not racist. Like, we don't have real feelings towards anyone that we want them to die. Like, that's the crazy shit. They're fucking the whole shit up. They're throwing the scales completely off.
Well, I'll give you an example of what you're talking about. This week, they announced the new Supreme Court justice pick, right? And she's a black woman, and they made it specifically because of that reason. But three
white guys gathered up talking about race. You know what I'm saying? I know. It's not the best look, but it needs to be done.
It doesn't look good.
It needs to be done.
But here,
you're doing the Lord's work.
Let me finish the point because I think it's important. Joe Biden announces that he's got this black woman as his pick, which is great. However, in 2005, there was a black conservative woman that the Republicans had selected, and Joe Biden went on TV and said he would veto that.
Right.
So he didn't want it then because it was a conservative black woman.
Exactly.
We're just at a point where people hear only what they want to hear. You know what I mean? Like it's not even a question that Joe Biden is the worst guy, and he's clearly racist and has done terrible things in his whole political career that we could all look back and just see.
Yeah.
It's not hidden.
Yeah.
But people are like, he's not Trump. So,
So it's good.
It doesn't matter.
I think that's what it is.
He's not that guy.
They don't like Trump. But I've soured on Trump, to be honest with you.
Oh, you're off.
You're off the Trump train. I'm questioning a lot.
Is this breaking news? This could be the clip, actually.
Just in. Ding, ding, ding.
I like a lot of what he did. I think he's far better than Joe Biden. Okay, you put them together. I'm voting Trump. Okay, if you're going to make me vote one of the two ways, yes. But this thing with the vaccine in him is extremely fishy, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, he's like he
all of a sudden he's like going out with Bill O'Reilly and like that guy's a piece of shit.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Talking about the vaccine and go get your booster and like he'll like go
he even got booed off stage.
He'll go into like a crowd of 50,000 people and be like, "Go get the vaccine," and everybody boos and he just keeps going. You're like,
"No, vaccine, good."
Yeah. See, I think he got.
I mean, he got.
In the beginning, he wasn't a political guy. Never had a political career. Didn't know how the shit worked. I'm sure he had an idea, but he wasn't in the game. So, that was like the big sell on Trump is he's not part of this clan that we know is fucking shit up. But now that he's been in the game, I feel like he got tainted maybe a little bit. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
He's playing the game.
My view on Trump.
Play the game.
My view on Trump. I think he had good intentions to be a great president, but it wasn't because of just his good heart. I think that he wanted to be a great president because he wanted to be known in history as the man who changed America.
For his ego.
And it was all about ego. And he was like, I'm going to actually do this right because he's a smart guy, right? And he understands what was wrong with the system. But it wasn't about just like helping the local farmer. It was about making Trump be the greatest president in history.
Yeah.
By crumbling their plans. They saw that. They obviously ostracized him and fucking canceled him hard.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of funny that they would cancel him, but they won't cancel Putin off of Twitter, right?
Insane.
Dude,
but anyhow,
nothing makes sense.
Exactly.
There's not a
single the more we talk about it, the more my head hurts.
There's not a single rule in existence where there's not an opposing, like an exact opposite of what they've said or done. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing fucking makes sense at all. But I have a question for you, actually.
Go ahead.
If you're not on the Trump train, who we going with? Where we at?
I don't know.
I mean, you're my political advisor.
I think he's setting himself up to be the savior in 2024.
Oh, you think he sold his soul to get back in?
That's what I'm saying. I think he's playing the game. I think now that he's a politic and he wants to get reelected, he's playing the game. He's like, oh, I'm only going to get reelected if I go for this vaccine shit, so let's go for the vaccine shit.
I'm seeing people that were in the middle or even, a little bit further to the left coming around like, man, because they see what's going on. They're like, Trump, maybe he wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the media portrays Trump as a piece of shit.
Right.
And now once they finally see it, they see the light, they see the truth, they see what's going on. They're like, wow, maybe I had it messed up. I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I thought the guy was like a piece of shit. I was like, this guy's in on the whole thing too. Like I didn't believe it because like you had pictures of him at Hillary Clinton at his wedding and stuff, and you're like, these are all pals.
Yeah,
These are all the same people.
And we were saying things. We were like, we were more going off the fact that he was like a TV celebrity and a fucking a crooked businessman of sorts. And so we're like, well, it's over. We're gonna watch the world burn. And that's kind of where it was.
That's where we've been watching.
Well, yeah,
we've been tuned in.
But our view, my view at least changed on him, especially through the pandemic shit. Then I was like, this is the only guy I can trust now. But you got a good point. Maybe that was part of the plan. So now we think he's going to be the savior. He comes back, changes the whole.
It could be that way, man. That would be very deep, wouldn't it? Very twisted.
Well, they have no limits. We can tell you that.
But they do have no limits. So I like what he's doing. It seems like he's going to be the pick in 2024. I don't know. Maybe not.
Are they going to allow him to run again?
I
heard they weren't going to allow him to run again because
they're going to. It seems like they're going to try and do that. I don't know. But I'm just very cautious with him now because of that. Because things don't add up for me. But
the dark always comes to the light, right?
You don't have any insight. I think people are talking about DeSantis. Is he supposed to run? You fuck with that guy?
I love DeSantis. I don't think he's done anything that
like if
me.
it was Trump, DeSantis, and whoever else on the bill,
it'd be Biden, I guess.
I would vote for DeSantis over Trump.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
My opinion.
All right, so we're DeSantis boys.
I'm a DeSantis boy, or Abbott if he were to go for it. But Abbott's in some hot water right now. With the
Abbott the tranny hunter. Have you heard about this?
No, is this a thing now?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It's a tough debate, I think. For me, it feels black and white, where he came out with a bill that says he's going to charge parents with abusive parenting or
child abuse if the child changes gender.
Well, if they're giving them the medication to change their gender.
Yeah.
If you as a parent are giving your 12-year-old hormones to change their gender.
Okay.
I think that is child abuse.
You got to at least.
I think about myself as a 12-year-old and the shit that I wanted to do. And if I wanted to be like, I was a little fucking loser, fucking dreadlocks loser.
Right.
I don't want to be that guy anymore.
Exactly.
If I locked that in at 12, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
My parents let me lock that in at 12.
You could almost attribute. I don't want to go too far off the rail here and say this, but like being a father, you could almost compare it to how. Children shouldn't be having sex before they're 18, right? Because there's a reason. Their minds aren't developed.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They could make really poor decisions, have children at a young age. There's a lot of reasons other than, obviously it's disgusting. But outside of that, like if we're talking facts, the same thing kind of goes for a kid wanting to change their gender. Mm-hmm. Like he said, if you change your mind at 18, well, guess what? Now you got tits.
Now you're fucked. Yeah.
So,
you fucked your whole shit up. And hormones, there's a lot of examples of that. And hormones, it's not like... I don't think Abbott's going to come to your house and arrest you if your son is wearing a dress to school.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's when you're giving him estrogen and like changing the biology inside of his body because that's what he wants at 12.
And this
Who does that?
The whole idea of the wokeness of like letting kids choose their gender at a young age. I think we don't know enough about it because this is such a new thing that like, what are the psychological effects in 10 years? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're actually changing your gender or having a sex change. Just like I don't think a girl should have breast implants before they're 18. I don't think there should be any sign off on that.
No.
None of that shit. Tattoos even. I'll go as far as to say that. Because these are things that you can't reverse. And when you're a kid, you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, it's crazy. So there's a lot
of
people
that are
upset about
YouTube,
that. But then there's also like, how many people do you think reposted that headline just under the context of like Greg Abbott is arresting any parent who has a son that's got a dress on.
Oh, they sensationalize it every time.
Yeah. Like that's what you're thinking, and I get that. That's fucked up. Like if you whatever, like do you until you're injecting things into your kid at 12.
Yeah.
And you're not a fucking doctor, and there's no reason for it. Like, first of all, read the fucking article, and then second of all, I'm
again,
with Abbott.
Small disclaimer for anyone watching: do your own research on anything we're talking about, because I don't want to speak for Joe, but for me in strategy, we're pretty much fucking idiots.
This is
not a news source.
This is a couple of the boys getting together and talking
our
and,
shit.
You know, sometimes that's hard to watch when there's three white men discussing topics on the
race
internet.
And
Any topic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would there be anything that we couldn't talk about?
I do
if
like the
everything's
fact-
all equality and we're all fucking equal. Everyone was created equally. Even the people that have no legs, they're just as equal as me.
Then we should have a voice.
We should have a fucking voice. You know what I'm saying?
It's pretty simple.
What's going on here?
I do like that Joe, when he talks about things, he cites dates and stuff like that. These are things that I couldn't do. I can kind of try and like remind you guys about something that I heard, but I'm not going to pretend that I know more than I do.
I mean,
not to say that you are, but like I like the fact that you cite your references.
I like to talk. I feel like we learned. I feel like I through speaking have now sorted things out that were in my head, but now that they're out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how many times is something in your head and then you say it and you're like, oh, that's not what I was thinking.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how you fucking progress.
But you got to speak.
You can't
speak
not
your mind.
speak. The censorship shit is not it.
That's not it.
That's
at
not
all.
it.
No.
And you know, this will be censored and taken off of YouTube,
Oh,
so no
sure.
one will probably hear it.
Or they'll pick out the good
it.
parts and fucking make us look out to be fucking.
You know why it's
Hitler.
censored, in my estimation? Because these companies are all owned by the same company. So one of the things you
What
guys
company
can look,
is it?
It's called Vanguard and BlackRock.
I've heard of Vanguard.
So those two companies basically own the world, okay? And anybody can go look this up. Go on like Yahoo Finance, pick any Fortune 500 company, look at their top institutional shareholders, and it almost always every time will say Vanguard, BlackRock.
Really?
Yeah. So they have controlling interests in the top 500 companies, more than that.
Who owns Vanguard or Black?
Well, Vanguard is private. You
You
don't know who owns Vanguard.
Shocker.
One of the only companies that has that.
Shocker.
So I
Nothing
think we
to see
can
here,
make
folks.
some, we can theorize.
If you had to
Who
guess,
owns
what
that?
would you think?
Probably the
think-
same people that are in control of this whole operation.
Soros?
So I would probably Gates, Rockefellers, Rothschilds.
Anybody who's got the money to fucking buy everything in the world, pretty much.
Yeah.
Anybody who's got the money to create a very 100% realistic robot to be our president that just can't, you know, we're watching the malfunctions, I think, when he's talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the glitches, but they're like, it's fine. Well, no one will notice. They're wearing masks.
Yeah.
They're like, look at them.
Yeah.
They're fucking
Cover
out
the
there
mess so
wearing
you don't see
masks.
the lips.
They're
But
not
if you
going
think
to
about
fucking
it,
notice
you
this.
see those robots, the mouths don't ever work right. Maybe that's why the masks all came on. So we didn't know that fucking Pelosi was a fucking robot.
I mean, maybe that
her,
the
her
mask.
face, like, doesn't it like kind of like shift a little bit?
Did you-
I mean,
what was
I'm
this-
sorry if she has cerebral palsy or something, but this,
What was that? You
that-
saw that?
I
I'm
think
sure
she
you
was
saw
just
that.
trying to create a meme.
she's
She's creating
smart.
content
We're
for
the
herself.
fucking idiots here.
She's like Kanye,
What
going
was
on a
that?
rant before he drops an album. I'm just waiting for Pelosi's album to drop.
Yeah,
To me,
that's
she
gonna be
looked
a bad
mad
one.
uncomfortable. She looked like
She was horny. Like she was ready to fuck Joe Biden. That's what I got out
in
of
that moment. I felt like it was like she took an edible maybe or something, and it was one of those moments when like the realization of what you're doing hits you, and she's like,
panicking.
I'm a fucking thief and a bad person, and I'm on fucking camera behind the president right now. Like,
Wasn't he
the
t-
entire world could see me, and I think she just got nervous and
Yeah.
like did a weird thing and then settled back into it. But-
And she did that at the worst possible time too. He was talking about like dead soldiers or
Yeah,
something, and
yeah.
she's like,
Ooh, that's-
"Yeah, seriously." I was like, "Whoa."
yeah, there's definitely some weird shit going on. I mean, that's anybody can see that, and if you can't see that, then I don't know. I can't even like try and explain it to you. But like,
There's so if you listen, I don't care what side you're on, what you believe in. If you can't just admit that everything's a little weird, nothing really makes sense, nothing truly makes sense, you got to at least be able to admit that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking
I'm not
clear
one to
as
say
day.
that I think we're being ran by lizard people. I think that's a little far fetched, but I will say nothing fucking makes sense other than the conspiracy theory.
Well, here's one fact that I think
I call them
everybody should
conspiracy
relate
theories
to
'cause
and
there's no other way
understand.
to say it without people.
Yeah.
getting
So
upset.
they ended all this pandemic shit like last week or whatever, right? The deaths were at their highest in like February, all time throughout this whole thing. And you're going to end COVID
Right then.
The week later.
Do you? So Elon Musk tweeted about, isn't it kind of peculiar that WHO or CDC didn't announce? I think it was WHO, because the World Health Organization won't release the amounts of deaths for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Is Elon Musk the one good billionaire out here, or is
Elon Musk a fucking legend?
Again, bro. I don't know. I like the stuff he tweets often.
He's given
he's like Batman, bro.
He's given Starlink to the Ukrainians, kind of level the field a little bit. I mean, he seems to be doing a lot of good. I don't trust the fucking Amazon guy as far as I could throw him.
Yeah.
But he seems like he's a little preoccupied with space right now.
I think the fact that our government doesn't support and like Elon Musk
is
a telltale sign. No, it's not sus. I think that makes me like him.
It's sus in a sense that you realize something's up.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think that makes me think that Elon's a good guy.
Right.
It seems that way.
If they were working together, it seems that way.
The only thing is, whenever I look at somebody of that power and influence, I'm like, you just don't get up there. You don't get in the club unless you're going to Epstein's fucking island or something. You know what I mean?
I mean, shit, even Trump, you see many pictures of him with Epstein.
Again, there you go, where I'm like, I don't know. I love what he's doing, but
I think Elon came from money. I think his family's got money. I think that's one of the big shit talking points that people make on him. So, if he's got money to begin with, and he's a genius.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely earned his money too. I mean, it's not like he was given.
But I don't think he had to suck a bunch of dicks. You know what I mean? When you need to get money, you're out there fucking blowing club promoters to get gigs. You know what I mean? You're out there working. You're fucking hustling the streets, climbing the ladder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What time is that? That being said, that's a good. How much time we got? Time? I don't want to be late to work.
No, you'll be fine. It's been an hour. It's 7.
All right, tight.
I think maybe cap it off with one more DJ related thing. Maybe talk.
Can I ask one more thing before we get to DJ?
Let's go.
Because I kind of
let's fucking
in
go.
This space. Because like I said, I've been following you obviously before any of the pandemic stuff, but I've really been paying close attention since all the stuff was happening. So, in your opinion, and of course this is just your opinion, I'm not saying anybody has to. Everything's taken with a grain of salt, right?
Sure.
None of us have a crystal ball.
Yeah.
In your opinion, if you had to take a guess at what we're looking at in the next year, what's the Joe Maz prediction that's going to age well, so people can come back and watch this podcast and say
that's a lot of pressure.
I like that.
That's a lot of pressure. I think this Russia thing is really escalating. It's going to give them reason or cover for a financial collapse
of the entire system.
I think they're going to try, maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but this war is going to go on for a while, it seems, because it's really nasty right now with the sanctions and everything. I don't know. It looks like they're going to use this cloud of war and point to that and be like, oh, that's the reason why everything collapsed. Now we need to bring in a new digital currency
to fix everything.
We got the whole thing went to shit. Sorry, guys. We're going to have to bring in this new system, and everybody will be just fine.
Now, in addition to the fact that they can cut off our fucking water whenever they want, what is the scariest part about the one world currency to you?
The fact that they can just shut you off anytime they want.
But then
it's the freedom is over. Basically, at that point, it's over.
It's the shoe-in to the social credit system.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. So let's say there's a social credit system. How far do they take it? Is it going to be like, all right, as long as we don't talk about the government, all right, fine, life can go on? Or is that just going to be
Brave New World? It's Brave New World. It's Brave New World. It's 1984.
What's that?
Those are not. George Orwell wrote a novel called 1984, basically, talking about this exact thing. Okay. Brave New World was written by Julian Huxley in I think the 30s, and his brother was the head of the UN. He wrote the philosophy, the founding philosophy for the UN.
Wow.
No, it's Aldous Huxley. Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World, a story about a dystopian future where the government has complete control over everything you say and do and eat and buy and go everywhere you go. And he wrote that in the 30s. And his brother headed the UN. And his brother basically was the head of the Eugenics Society, which if you guys don't know what eugenics is, it's basically weeding out people that are deplorables from society. Maybe the people that they have disabilities or whatever. There was a whole movement in the States 100 years ago to basically rid society of undesirable people. And the head of the UN was the leader of that.
The homeless wasn't on that list?
It was like, they were like...
Or maybe that's by design, that they can say, look, there's a fucking problem with these homeless people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fucked up, but nothing's off the table at this point.
Yeah.
So once we get to that point in this book, right?
Yeah.
How does life go on? Do we have any freedom to do anything, or are we living in like straight prison?
They always do things incrementally so you don't notice. And I use the analogy of the boiling frog. Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah.
You take a frog, you put them in like room temperature water and just slowly turn that temperature up. It won't jump out. If you throw a frog into boiling hot water initially, that fucker's going to jump right out.
Right.
But if you just turn it up slowly, which is what they do to us, they always like slowly, incrementally like announce something and just kind of massage you into their,
because you don't notice it. I think
you don't notice it as
the
much.
frog thing is because frogs, their internal thermometers are on a delay from like what's happening outside. I think it's such a delay that they just would sit in that water until they died because they don't know it. And it's the same thing for us, is you don't notice it when it's happening, especially when there's chaos, there's a pandemic, there's a war, we need to do this because of that, and you're like, hey man, I'm trying to make it to my next gig tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, do whatever. You know what I mean? But we don't notice that we're fucking ourselves.
Yeah.
Is there any light at the end of the tunnel, or is this just
the light at the end of the tunnel? Yeah, I want to end it on a positive note.
Because I'm about to fucking go crash.
Because it sucks. Yeah, it sucks talking about this. I don't want to be right, and I say that all the time on my social media. But the reason I have been so vocal about it is because this stuff just is true. I mean, I'm sorry, it's true.
There's a lot
that's
of
what
it,
they're doing.
I stay in the middle because there's so much, but there's so much of it that is true, and it's fact, and you can check it. Even though they don't talk about it on the news, it happens, it's true, but like, if you go and look a lot of this shit up, and you'll see for yourself, you know what I mean?
The positive is we need to raise our consciousness, be aware of what's going on so that we can stop it. And I'm seeing a lot of that now. I mean, we wouldn't have had this conversation a year ago, right? Year and a half ago.
That's true.
And I people even like tweet out, like I think DJ J Spring, if you're listening, shout out to you. But he was he tweeted out something about, man, I thought Joe was like destroying his career, committing career suicide, like back in April 2020. And he's like, actually, a lot of this stuff is true. And that's I made the decision that it was more important to me, more so than my career or my reputation, to vocalize what's going on and try and bring people to the awareness level so that we can collectively stop this.
Yeah, and you're being honest and you're being your true self, and that is what really shines right now. That's why Joe Rogan has 10 times the amount of people listening to him as the news does, because we all know that the news is lying.
Right.
Yeah.
We all fucking know that.
Yeah.
And when somebody like Joe, you're drawn to Joe, you like his social media because you see an honest person. You know what I mean? Like, you're seeing somebody being who they are. That's what the fucking internet is for. That's like everything you just said is true. You are out here doing that. We need to do that. We have you on the show. Hopefully people see it. You know what I mean? Like, I respect it. I fuck with it.
But that's what we all need to be doing. We all need to have podcasts like this and spread the news, spread the information. As much as it sucks, a lot of people are just going to turn it off because they don't want to hear it. Because it sucks to like accept that.
Yeah.
You know it's kind of it's kind of always been like that. People like ignorance is bliss. You know?
Yeah.
So they're like, well, I'm just going to turn off my blinders.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was also getting at when I was like how bad does it get? Like, because I'd love for us to see a revolution where everything changes, but most revolutions end up just being worse. Like, I mean, to be honest.
I'll tell you how bad it's going to get. I think that we are experiencing how bad it's going to get right now. Like, think back to 10 years ago, what you could and couldn't do on the internet, or like, we're going through that censorship and that control and that, and we're unfortunately adjusting to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to get bad, but it's going to be the norm. Whatever the norm is, we kind of just accept as humans, because what else are you going to do? Yeah, we fight it, but like, even while fighting it, you're accepting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's part of our survival habits or whatever the fuck it is. Like even no matter how bad it gets, it's still just going to be the life that we live, and there's going to be happiness and there's going to be sadness, and everything that we go through is going to exist, and all that. Like, so it's going to get bad, but also at the same time, like, you can't let that ruin anything. You know what I mean? Like, you live your life and you do your thing and you strive to be the best DJ and produce dope ass records and low ride and all that shit. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I'm positive about it. I think there's a collective conscious awareness going on right now that's never happened in human history.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, the internet brings us all together, so we can all kind of like open our eyes to things rather than back in the day when you had only get what you could get out of the newspaper. You know.
I'm excited for whatever the next like we're not censoring on this app is. Like Trump made his
Telegram,
app, the
right?
Truth thing or whatever.
Telegram?
Yeah. Telegram.
What's Telegram?
It's just another social media.
But what's what's the timeline? Like, I think Truth is going to be like Twitter, right? Where it's like Twitter, you're just kind of typing.
Telegram,
there's no
I think
pictures
it's more like
really.
Instagram or Reddit.
Yeah, it's a little bit different format.
Are you on there?
Yeah, but I don't really go on there that often.
See, I actually just found out about it today.
The one that pops. Like, there are those things. There's Telegram. There's fucking...
Jared was showing me on Telegram because you can really see the war. The stuff that they won't show.
Clips, yeah.
It's some of it I probably could have gone without seeing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It just shows you that it's definitely an uncensored platform. That you can put whatever you want.
And going off the question of like you said that you thought it might hurt your DJ career to speak out and be the person that you are and be truthful and try and help the world. In the end, or at this point, do you feel like it helped or hurt?
I think it helped. I wouldn't have said that probably 6 months or a year ago. Like after I did r.o.a.d. podcast, I got like all these hate mails and all this stuff, and I'm deleting all my Joe Maz and all this kind of rhetoric.
Yeah, but you know, if you're able to make waves like that, you're able to make waves on the other side.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Look at it like, you know, if Kanye comes out and he's way the fuck bigger than me, obviously, and he puts on a red hat and goes on Twitter and says he likes Candace Owens, and like people are burning their Kanye records, and he's still here.
Yeah, because that's only one side.
Yeah.
Now
I'm not saying I'm of that level where I can't be canceled, but it's just.
But still, like, you have a Patreon now, right?
Yeah.
How long have you had that?
Like a day.
Oh, it's brand new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Patreon is the fucking shit.
Yeah.
The fucking shit. Bro.
Now I got to watch my Twitter though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like
Patreon.
I had a Patreon going, and then I got kicked off of Instagram. I lost all my fucking followers.
Really?
Now I have no real feed into my Patreon because I was doing like the send nude shit with the girls and all that. So Instagram shut me down, whatever. But Patreon is fucking amazing. So if you're watching, definitely follow Joe on Patreon. What is it, and what do you got on there? All
my exclusive content. I just uploaded like 15 of my best stuff that I put together over like the last 5 months.
And how much is it a month?
$20. And then I added another tier where it's like my complete production, my whole Ableton session. Like you can see all the presets, all the plugins,
That's big for producers, bro.
Out of your...
Go do what you will with it, like, you know.
That's fucking huge for producers.
That's
so
awesome.
You definitely need to fuck with Joe Maz's Patreon, and I hope that blows up, and I hope that all of the fucking haters from the r.o.a.d. podcast boosted you up. All that shit talking, all the reposting and talking about how they fucking, this guy's a piece of shit, and then other people go and click on your shit, and people that actually like it follow you, and I hope they start paying you $20 a month for your fucking Patreon because of the haters. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it fucking works.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a good note to leave it on. And I'll definitely be subscribing to your Patreon because I love all your work. Big fan of it.
Thank you.
Have been, so I'm looking forward
Thanks
to
for having me out here.
Hell yeah. Let's go, champ. Bottle Blonde tonight. The kids there. Joe Maz.
Yes,
you guys getting drunk tonight? I'm a little jealous, bro. I mean,
where are you going to be?
I'll be at Polecat, so if you do happen to get a little too drunk and you want to hit the strip club late night, I'll be there. You let me know.
Anything's an option.
All right, thanks for joining us. You got anything else?
No, I'm
fuck
good.
Fuck Fauci.
Fuck Fauci, fuck Gates. That's it. That's where we're gonna end it.
All right, let's go, champ. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube if you're on here. Drop a comment. Help us out on the algorithm. We got the algorithm. I feel like is gonna. It's either gonna go really good or really bad.
We're just gonna get black.
It's gonna have like
3
views.
It could either go. They're gonna shadow ban it.
In case this gets blackballed and you never see it again. We're glad that you watched it.
Yeah. Well, I got it. It'll be on fucking my Patreon after. All right. Peace. Thank you guys.